Good evening, Comics and More New Jersey. Demon Phil here with yet another interview. And we've been having such a blast with all the interviews, decided to go ahead and keep the tempo going on this. We're going to have some fun with this, got a lot of information to go through, and just have a blast with this. So, as always, if you will let me know in the comments you can see and hear me, I'd appreciate that. And then definitely let's get this shared out so we can get as good a size audience in here as possible. Want to thank everyone for being here. And again, to go ahead and thank everyone who went ahead and followed on YouTube. I certainly appreciate that because we made our 1,000 mark over there. I will let you in on a little secret right now because you're going to find out more information starting tomorrow. But you all need to be followers on YouTube because the only way you're going to be able to see the commemorative show on this coming Saturday is on YouTube, since that is where we got our 1,000 followers. That is where the show is going to be. That is where the giveaways are going to be. And that is where the grand prize is going to be. And yes, more information will start following that starting tomorrow. So get ready for that one. So as we're waiting on this, again, if you'll let me know in the comments you can see and hear me, I'd appreciate that. And we're getting some things shared out already, which is excellent. And I hope everybody had a great day, is staying safe. Everybody knows my shows have nothing to do with politics, drama, religion, or negativity of any kind. So I'm just going to say this in the most positive way. Be safe out there because there's a lot of other stuff going on. So just keep yourself safe out there. And that's all I'm going to say about that one. But in moving forward, we're going to keep a lot of positivity moving on this one because that's what I like to go with. Now, let's see. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull down the banner and we'll get this bad boy started. All right. Demon Phil, Comics and More New Jersey. I'm here with yet another interview tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you, everyone who is going to be watching this later on. I want to go ahead and start by thanking my sponsors because I do have sponsors, and it's really cool that I do, so I enjoy going through them. So starting off with Sub-Zero Mission. Sub-Zero Mission, as everyone knows, this is a big one to me because this is one that actually saves lives. They go in their area and save as many homeless vets as they can by giving them tools they need to go ahead and survive the winter months. That is huge. If you don't know enough about this, look on my page, find some information on there. If you need more information, reach out to me. I will give you all the information you could possibly ever want to help out with this. Totally Rad Comics, which has got Totally Rad Life of Violet #3, which comes out on Kickstarter June 16th. Third Empire, which has got Mojo Rising, which is going to be coming out very soon. We're looking at a mid-June launch on there. So get your mojo on. Codex Entertainment, which has got Literally the Demoness #4, and that'll be releasing in July on Kickstarter. Comic Art Groupie, which is Wendy Steen Shaner. Naughty Stripper Fairy Assassins #4, which is coming out the end of June, so get ready for that one. Pantsless Pizza, that girl right there, yeah, that's our sponsor too. And if you don't know enough about Pantsless Pizza, well, keep paying attention because there's big reveals coming. And 183 Degree Studio, which is Kara Nicole and Alfred Trujillo, which have Confessions of a Cosplay Diva, which is on Kickstarter right now. Now, I left 183 Degree Studio for the last one on there because of the cosplay aspect, because tonight, my guests that are in here are Superheroes Unlimited, which is Derek and Sapphire Nova. If you don't know them, well, this is your chance to get to know them a little bit. We're going to go over some things, ask some questions, and find out some of their projects they've got going. And if you've got questions on the side, get ready to fire those away as well. So, Lewis, thank you very much for being here. Scott, thank you very much for being here as well. And here we go. Let's go ahead and bring them up on stage.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us on here, Phil.
Yeah, thank
Hey,
you.
absolutely. Now, for those out there that don't know who you are, I always like to start off with who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
Of course. Well, I guess I'll start then.
Sure.
So I'm Derek Nova. I own Superheroes Unlimited. We are, God, at this point, everything with conventions. We started as a custom cosplay company, and we made costumes for people. And then we just steadily kept going upwards in cons. And now we do large-scale social media marketing, advertising. We provide photos for comic book covers. We do celebrity booking, professional convention consulting. We're now just starting to run conventions. And basically anything at any level to do with the convention, we work with. So that's what we do now.
Very cool.
And then me personally, I'm Sapphire Nova Cosplay. So a lot of people know my work with the company. So I do cosplay. So, a lot of you guys know me for my Lady Death. I also cosplay characters like Gamora, Starfire. I just did Red Sonja. Got a lot of new stuff coming out here because that's how I've been spending my time lately is making.
That's true. She's been crazy with making stuff lately. Yeah. Like she's churning out like a costume like every 4 days right now. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty true.
Wow. That's impressive because it seems like every time I see a new post from you, it's a new costume that's out there, and you almost think that you would run out of ideas after a while.
So long that I'm not even like, I don't even think I've made a dent in it yet.
No.
I made a dent in the like fabrics and like things I already have waiting in my closet. I've started to make a dent in that finally, but my list of stuff to make is like I haven't even scratched the surface. And every day people come to me with like, "Wow, you should do this costume. You should do this costume," and I'm like, "That's a really good idea. Add that to the list."
Well, that doesn't even start in like all the like. Well, here's the 90 variations of this character. You should do this specific one. All the Lady Death requests, all the Starfire requests, like. Yeah. Here's Starfire from Earth 792. I found this in one comic from 40 years ago. Like,
and of course, it's always beautiful, and I want to make it now.
Now we've got someone in YouTube over here, Purgatory Paul's book review, which I love that name, by the way. St. Paul, Minnesota here. Thank you for being on the show tonight and partaking in this. Now, the first thing I want to go ahead and kind of go into here is with Superheroes Unlimited. So, with the group that you have on there, because I've seen anything from it's been one person, a couple of people on there to, an entire, a plethora of people that are all gathered there that are all doing the same thing. So what exactly is that? And what does it mean to you to be, doing that with Superheroes Unlimited?
Well, we started, like 6 years and what is it, the 31st? So 6 years and 6 days ago, something like that, 5 days ago, was our 6th year anniversary of starting this. We literally had, I had proposed to her about a month before, and we drove up to Niagara Falls for a little weekend getaway. And on the way back, we constantly had people always offering to like, we do midnight movie premieres. So people would always come up and be like, how much for this thing? How much for that? Can you do this thing? And one guy a few months before had been like, hey, I'll give you $300 for this costume right now, right off your back. And I was like, dude, this is a graduation gown and bed sheets that I office staplered together. It's not. He's like, $300 right now, no questions. And I was like, okay, dude, like, I guess so. He loved it. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe we look into this as a business. And then we solidified it, and Saf came up with the name of the company. And then we started doing cons, and then basically designers came up to us and they were like, hey, we see that you're really good at selling things and talking to people. I make awesome stuff, but I suck at sales. And I was like, well, I'm good at that. And you make better stuff than I do personally. Because I'm not a super patient guy. So I'm kind of the guy like, this either works or I set it on fire, crafting wise. And so we were like, okay, well, let's do this. So we started gathering designers. And then we were like, snap, we need more models. So then we started gathering models, and then we're like, oh man, we need people to take pictures of us. Okay, now I roped in photographers, and I think as we stand right now, 6 years later, we have, I want to say 35 to 40 models on staff. We have like 20 designers and like 8 photographers across the country right now. It's always a little in flux because like people move on with their lives, new people come in. 2 of our models had babies. And they were like, I have a baby, cosplay's on the back burner for a while. So that's kind of, it's my life. Like, it's all I've done for the last 6 years. It's my full-time job. It's Saf's full-time thing. For the most part. I mean, we live, breathe, do everything. This, like, it's a lot of fun.
It's like how we've designed our house. It's how we
Yup.
how we plan vacations.
Yeah. Like, where can we go to get cool pictures? Like, oh, should we get this piece of furniture? It'd be great for a photo shoot.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I mean, it's been amazing meeting, all the celebrities, the voice actors, people I listened to as a kid, people I've watched, books I've read. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. So
It is. I mean, being in this industry it's a lot of work to do, but it almost seems like it's not work, but it is. I mean, it's a weird, it's like a double-edged sword on that.
oh, it 100% is where it's like, oh man. So like when we consult for conventions, I basically run around for like 72 hours, like the entire con, before the con, after hours, for 72 hours, I'm awake nonstop working a convention.
He's usually kind of like a zombie at conventions by the end.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing it, but it's also a very grueling job at times. And then there's, I have a week of absolutely nothing to do, and then I have 3 weeks of I don't sleep more than an hour a night. So like I said, it's a very big double-edged sword. There's a lot of great highs, a lot of lows. So more highs.
And that's exactly what I was fixing to bring up, is that there's more of the highs than there are the lows, and that's what kind of fuels you in keeping going with all of this.
For sure.
Now, one thing I wanted to bring up is some of the things you've done, because I know everybody's, there's a business, there's money that's involved and everything, and everybody wants to make money. There's no lie in this by any means, but there are certain charity things that you've done as well, which is very interesting, because in doing that, it actually creates the energy and excitement, or renews the energy and excitement in a lot of fans and would-be fans that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with a few charities over the years. We've always had different deals with different places. I mean, a lot of it's bringing attention to things, or having a costume character sort of thing and stuff like that. I mean, what was it? Years ago, we worked with the Pirate Guys for leukemia thing in PA, and like, you gotta forgive me. You get to a point where like you do so much stuff, and it's like people are like, "Hey, you remember when you did that?" And I was like,
"Oh wow, we did do that thing."
Yeah, sure. Was it good? Yeah, I did it. Maybe. Was it bad? Might have been me too. Like.
I don't think anybody's going to hold you accountable from this show that's going to come back later on and say, you remember those people you had on your show and they said that they did something, but they really didn't do it, or they didn't remember that they did it. I don't think you're going to have to worry about blowback on my show from that. Everything should be just fine. Now, let me ask you this. And I guess this is more geared, well, it's actually geared towards both of you, because both of you do it, but I know Sapphire's got a little more of the following behind it. But what does it mean to you to be a cosplayer?
That's definitely
Yeah, he doesn't cosplay a lot. For me, honestly, it's bringing to life those characters. So for me, it's getting to choose characters that I love and that I relate to, or that I want to see more of in my own personality. And then for me, it's getting to bring those characters to life for other people. And so getting to go to the cons and, seeing people's reaction. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite character. I love, I've never seen that character done before. It's so cool. And, those kind of things for me, getting to make somebody else's day by being that character that they love, to me, it makes the whole world. So it's just something that's so cool to be able to embody some of these characters. And usually I do like to choose kind of the more, strong females, and, I love being able to personify that. So it's neat to be able to bring that to people.
Now, I can honestly say, on a personal standpoint, whenever Online Con had their thing, and you were actually showing what it took to actually go from Sapphire to Lady Death, it was interesting, because not only putting on the makeup, not only putting on the attire and everything, it was the change in you. It was like a light switch, and it was odd because you talked about it while you were doing all of this, and all of a sudden you changed, and then the rest of the show, you were no longer Sapphire. Sapphire did not survive that. It was just Lady Death that was there.
Because I do like playing character. Like Lady Death is the perfect, perfect example because, like I said, I like playing the strong female, and I think I'm strong in my own way, but I'm this kind of bubbly, fun personality. Like I find I kind of relate closer to like a Starfire than I do a Lady Death, and yeah, so a lot of times I have this like kind of weird like place when it comes to like being at a convention because I want to be in character and I want to do that character justice, but I also don't want people to like think that like that's my personality because it's so.
One of the things really
Go ahead.
funny is we see like a lot of the same artists, same vendors, same people, show after show after show, and there's a lot of them that like some of them have never seen her in normal clothes.
Yeah.
So like we'll have an artists and friends of ours come up and be like, "Hey Derek, who's the new model?" And I was like, "It's Saf," and they're like, "Oh, you got me again." So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny too because like you know with the Becoming Lady Death that I did for Coffin Comics Online, it was one of the few times like I've actually got on camera with my own hair. Like I know that's so strange to say, like this is not my hair right now. It's such a strange thing for me to like. There's some people that have never seen the real color of my eyes, that have never seen the real color of my skin. Like it is such a funny thing that I can change so completely. And yeah, I do like to bring it through with the acting part of it too, because that's what sells a character. I mean, it's one thing to put on a costume, it's another to become that person.
Exactly. Now, Lewis has got a comment over here, and I just want to say one thing real quick. Lewis, I don't know if you're able to look over here and look at my book to see my questions, but quit peeking because I was going to get to this. Superheroes Unlimited did an awesome photo shoot for Ace and Starlet #1. Sapphire was Starlet, was absolutely stunning. I will completely agree because I was going to bring up about Lewis's Ace and Starlet. It is written down over here, actually. I was going to say, you not only do some of the mainstream, you actually do some of the other ones as well to bring them to life and to do the cosplay covers and everything, which is really cool because independent creators actually have a chance to have someone on the cover who can go ahead and bring that energy to the cover.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting because you always want to have something that draws your attention to the cover. And it's not always just about the female. It's not always about just having a woman up there. It's about the energy that is personified on there. And you can do that whether you're in motion and animated or preserved on a cover. And that's very interesting that you can actually do that because not many can.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it because that's a huge compliment. I mean, it is. It's two very different things to be that character in person and to be that character in a photo. And I really do try my best to bring both ways. I know my dog.
I'm kind of going to put Lewis on the spot on this one, and I'm going to say I hope that we get to see you on Ace and Starlet 2 in a cosplay cover.
There may be discussions.
We'll just say that it's a possibility.
That was not a no. I'm happy with that.
We love working on cosplay covers, especially because one of like the big things that even from the founding of the company was I'm a huge believer in cosplay is for everyone, but there is a significant difference. Like anything, like there is a big difference between hey, I want to go cosplay at a con and hey, I want to be a professional cosplayer versus same as hey, I'm an artist and hey, I'm a professional comic book artist. Those are two vastly different worlds with different criteria to them. And I always try to hold us to a significantly high standard of any work we do is premised on the fact that why are we behind the table and you're not, Mm-hmm. And we always try to bring that standard to everything we do. So it's the little details, the tiny things, it's the, and it's the also the transitional with a lot of costumes. Because like there's a lot like artists super suck at drawing the back of anything. So I mean Billy Tucci's Harley Quinn. He's got it's a playing card thing he drew, and we've talked to him extensively about it because we really want to do it. It's a gorgeous piece of artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And he has no idea what the other side of it looks like. He just drew a front. And I'm like, what do you think? What would you like the back to look like, Billy? And he's like, I don't know. I just fucking need the front of it. Like, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. That does not help me.
So one thing I'm very cool about Lady Death, because she has a cape, so it covers all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it.
But a lot of it's like translating artwork into real life, and that's what I do. A lot of people don't realize I do in the company is, although I'm not one of the fabricators of physically making it anymore, I do go in and I work extensively with our designers on the design process of how do we translate this artwork into the real world and then make it so somebody can actually wear this. You know, how do you move under all of this? How does this all connect? Like, does it, you know, like,
Well, we've spent the last week trying to figure out, you know, building a pair of wings for me. You know, how do we make it movable? How do we
multifunctional, like, because making
how
wings.
How do we break it down so it fits in a car or fits in a suitcase? Or...
So it's the real world practical applications that I really like to bring to cosplay, and I have a lot of fun designing for things of like, does this make sense? You know, would this character really have this in real life? Or the moments where it's like a customer comes to us and they go, I want this costume, but I only want to spend X amount. And then it's like breaking down what is intrinsic to a character. Like, for example, Joker. The primary thing with Joker is his colors. You know, it's not necessarily what he's physically wearing in any image. It's his coloring that character to life. And so I have a lot of work with that with both the customer and the designer in distilling that down into like, what is the essence of the character? You know, is this prop intrinsic? Is it not? Do they need this line? Do they not? Like, so we do a lot of that. And that's one of the things, like, you know, I mean, we spent, 2-3 weeks gathering all the things for Ace and Starlet, the Ace and Starlet cover of just, you know, meeting budget, making sure that we fit what the character was and the costume. And I mean, you couldn't see it in the picture, but like your pocket, like Saf's pockets weren't attached. Because we couldn't find any jeans that we could cut that had the pockets in the right spot.
I actually had to like make pockets, and I sewed one pair into the jean shirts, and the other ones I just didn't have time to, so they're just kind of stuck in there. So at the end of the time, I just ripped off the pockets. I was like, okay, we're done.
Yup.
I don't think it affected sales very much. I'm not 100% sure. I can check with Lewis later on and just see if, you know, there are that many people that complained about it, but I don't think there's that many.
Did you see the picture I posted on Instagram of her and Going Maddie? Because Maddie came over at what? Like, it was like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And she's like, this is the only time I could get over. And I was like, it's totally fine. Come over. And they were like, are we going to be taking pictures? Do we need to put makeup on? I'm like, no, you're fine. And the way the two of them, like, we had all the prints, they're hunched over, and they started making like Gollum jokes. And I was like, I got to take a picture of this. So like, Maddie's just like, what? And Saf's like, wah!
No, I like had my leg up on the table. I was like full Gollum there.
Yeah, I knew there had to be a story behind that, because whenever I saw those pictures, I was like, this is not a normal signing. There's something else going on here.
That was just our living room. We were just, we laid them out on the table to get them all done and everything. And we were just, everybody was super tired. I mean, that was...
Well, he took the picture and he's like, do you mind if I post these? And I was like, hey, you know what? I am not too proud that I can't make fun of Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, it was a ton of fun doing that. And then just filling all those out, and yeah, just the walls of signings. It's always crazy when you see anybody doing a signing of that magnitude, of that many things, of just watching it go and go and go and go and go and go.
I was totally stealing Brian's signs.
We'll say borrow, not stealing. No, we don't steal from Brian.
There you go.
Now, I will say that eventually I'd probably even like to get with you about that young lady that's over your husband's shoulder there, because Pantsless Pizza is something that's going to start coming around on our side. That's our uh, side business, shall we say? There's more information to be coming around on that one. Trust me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're always, I mean, that's something I tell like any artist we meet, anybody we talk to, like our goal in the just industry as a whole is like you said, money is involved, obviously. Like this is a business. But our goal is more long reaching than a lot of things. It's something I tell a lot of cosplayers. It's it's what I tell any business too, is you got to plan long term. Like there's a lot of cosplayers and artists and anybody that pop up for a year and then are gone. They make some money and then they're out of the business. I want to be here forever. Like I stop doing this. Like we have plans in place that when we get old, we transition stuff over. Like
I've already started thinking about costumes when I'm 60. What am I going to be wearing?
Exactly. Because it is a long-term game for us. Like that's what we want it to be. And so like our big focus always is networking, building connections, helping people out. I mean, putting things together that benefit the community as a whole, not just us or one individual. We try to make, I mean, even when we price our costumes, I've seen some costumes like $100 of material and some designer selling the thing for $2,000, and they're like, well, people pay it. And I'm like, you're still robbing those people just because they saw you first. Like a great example is that Rogue costume we see all the time. So just Rogue, standard X-Men Rogue hair, the 90s spandex suit. We've got it up for I think like 160 or something like that, comparable. I see other people, and I mean, it's not a complicated design. I mean, it takes time to sew and everything, but there's a couple of Etsy stores that have it for $800 for just the bodysuit. And I'm like, that's just absolutely insane, and they sell them because it's the first place someone found it. And it's not right there, and I don't like it, and that's the thing. Like we want to bring everybody up with us. We don't want to step over others, and that's, I think that's why we've done so well and been around so long is just my goal is to work with people. I mean, working with Brian, working with all the other amazing people, Lewis, everybody.
Several times people have come to it, especially to you, and been like, hey, can you make XYZ costume? And you're like, dude, that's a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. You can go find that at Goodwill.
Here's the technique. Do it yourself.
And he will help people out, like, just figuring out how to make the costume on their own more cost effectively, because that's a better way to do it.
Very cool.
Better business. And that's really my mindset from the get-go is do good, be good business, and be honest, like.
And that's the perfect segue into my next thing here is CouchCon, because that's your newest, biggest thing that you've got coming up here. And the first, I'm gonna let you talk about it, but the first one coming up is actually next Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
On the 6th. And then you've got 2 more shows that are planned up after that. And of course, I'll let you talk about that as well. But CouchCon is one of those things that, everybody has these different cons that are going on. So what makes yours different? What makes yours stand out?
Well, we ran our beta test of it May 3rd. And our goal from the beginning, because obviously everything going on hit everybody wildly unexpectedly and very hard. I mean, we were booked out for 25 cons already this year that poofed. And it hit us hard. And then I looked at it and I was like, you know what? We've been wanting to do a con. We have recently, a couple months ago, got a fantastic web designer on staff, Chandler F. Rose. Does amazing websites. Highly recommend him. He has bent over backwards to make everything work with this. And me and him sat down and I was like, what do we got to do to make an online convention? And he's like, I've never really done a convention, so you tell me, Derek. What it came to. And so I looked at how other people had already done some. I looked at some of the ones that were coming up. And one of the big things that always stood out to me was it wasn't bringing the convention feel. So it had con slapped on it, but it wasn't a con. Because there's essentially like three main formats that you see in virtual conventions. And one is you just do a stream like this. They have one main stream with a celebrity, whatever, either per day or per hour. And then down below, they have just hyperlinks out to the vendor booths. Okay, so it's their websites. Okay, it's not really good for anybody, barring people who just want to watch the celebrity live stream. But it doesn't really do anything for the vendors, which are they're the meat of cons. You go to see cool stuff. You obviously go for celebrities, but it's the vendors, it's the artists, it's all of that, and it's the community feel, the engagement, the connections are what's super important. And the other way you see it is you might have, various vendors doing live streams, like one-off, same thing, same format basically, but now it's vendors. Okay, cool, but not there. And so what we decided to come up with was the feel, the activity, the engagement, the back and forth, I'm moving around a con, I'm hitting this vendor, I'm hitting that vendor, I'm doing this one. And then the long-term planning with that too, of what is the new paradigm that comes with being online? What can online offer that a physical convention cannot? And part of that was just posterity. You can record everything online. Everything's stored. It's now data. It's not a physical format. It's not a convention hall that needs to hold up. It's all of those things aren't a problem anymore. And so we went to the drawing board, we thought about it a lot, and then we put 2 months of building into it. And what we came up with was CouchCon. And the way we've got it set up is it's 5 live streams an hour. So 5 of these interviews, 5 vendors talking, whether it's a celebrity, vendor, cosplayer, whatever, it's all live for that hour. And then what we do is what really changes us from everybody is we keep those pages up. So once the interview is done, once the sale is done by the vendor, whatever it may be, we take the page down temporarily, and then over the course of the next hour, we convert it over to a stay page. And so essentially what happens is that, like, for example, using this interview is a great one. We do this whole interview, and now you can come back and watch it like television. It's repeatability. Have down below your websites, your connections, all that. And then if you missed CouchCon, you can come back and watch it whenever you feel like it. Nice, simple, easy. And then we've also got, shopping carts down below for the vendors, and we're working out with several different celebrities at this point to bring them on board. For June 6th specifically, we have Jimmy Mulligan, who is a Disney fine artist, is going to be out. He actually just shot me some messages. And so, our goal is to take this nice, easy, properly grow it, because, I'm sure you've seen the big, Reed Pop, Wizard World, all of those guys are starting virtual cons, but they're charging $200-$300 for booths, and it just murders a vendor. It's not vendor friendly. We made this our way, where we set it up kind of like what you've got here, just a simple. We shoot you you give us a call in on Skype. We handle all the overlays. We handle all the promotion. We handle everything for you. You just send us a stream, and we give you a really cool CNN style overlay, showcasing your products, advertising you. You don't have to do any complicated techie stuff, which, let's be honest, most of these guys suck with. And that's kind of the idea behind it, is just being that super engaging over and over and over, and then repeatability of, like you said, we have our next one June 6th, June 20th, July 11th. Our goal right now is to run one every 2 weeks, and then maybe even do pop-up ones, because, that's the beauty of the internet, is if I can get 4 celebrities on a Wednesday who are like, hey, we want to do a, Dragon Ball Z reunion, interview with you, Derek. Okay, let's go. Pop-up con, we don't have all the plane flights, the convention center, all that overhead. And that was really our focus with it, was how do we make vendors money during this downtime, and how do we make sure that fans can have that community feel and bringing back that connection that a con brings them while everybody's forced to stay apart right now.
Mhm.
And that's what we wanted to do, was nice, easy, not massively time consuming, have a 6-hour con every 2 weeks that, if we have all 45 slots filled, that's, I'm bad at math. That's 45 hours of content. Obviously, that was bad.
terrible.
It's a little late. Okay, it's 45 hours of content you can consume across the next 2 weeks before you get to the next show,
Mhm.
and watch what you want to watch, and follow the links through to the vendors, residual sales for those guys, cool new toys for everybody else. That was the idea behind it, was just bringing everything back together at a low cost for everybody. It's free for attendees. I'm barring some like specialty celebrity engagement, like one-on-one sort of thing. I'm always going to be keeping it free for attendees. As of all our planning right now, like I have no plans to gatekeep the event, essentially, because I want more people, and I want people viewing it. And our beta test did amazing. I mean, we had Saf and 3 other people, just friends of ours, come on, and we had 400 unique viewers across 2 hours, and that was with no marketing, no advertising. That was just me being like, hey, we're live 5 minutes beforehand. And
Mhm.
boom, and that's kind of the goal with it. It is that,
And
connecting.
if
So,
if you're able to fill it up and everything with 5 per hour, I mean, that's just like going to a real con, because my problem going to a real con is I want to go to this panel, but this artist is now opened up over here and sitting down and doing autographs. I can't split atoms at this point. So what do I do? Now, whenever you're at a real con, there is no going back and redoing and watching it later and getting a second chance. So at least with this, you're getting a second chance. Now, my question is, are you going to have things where you have panels as well, or is it going to be strictly just vendors and all that, or is it going to be like a con and have the information as well?
we are fine doing panels. I mean, panelists just need to say, hey, I want a time slot, and we're going to run it just like that. Because the way we've got the system set up is it's got full chat functionality, live chat, everything. I mean, our delay time is super low. I mean, we're down to, I want to say, a 4-second delay between video and actual, like, seeing everything. Like, I mean, even this video, I mean, I think we're at like a 15-20 second. So like, we got super good anti-delay stuff, and so everything runs seamlessly. Obviously it's all internet dependent, and the internet gods can hit us with a stick whenever they feel like, but
You can leave on a mic.
yeah, or whatever. So listen, here's the story behind this. During our beta test, we started getting messages of, I can hear Derek talking. And
mind you, it was on my stream. So we're streaming from the same house. However, Derek is downstairs in our living room, and I am upstairs in a complete separate section of the house in our cosplay room. And I start getting these messages of, we can hear Derek.
Which isn't uncommon, because I am clearly a very loud person. But I was like, she's in another room with the door shut. Normally we've got better soundproofing than that. And then it turned out we had a button unclicked somewhere and
They
had to
left
change
the
it.
mic on.
We left the mic on. So it's a growing, evolving process here. But yeah, we want panelists. We want everything that a con has normally. I mean, I think it even lends itself better to more panelists, because again, there's no travel. Watch this from your couch. That's the point of the name. You can, I mean, right now, even just like what we're doing, I mean, we're just in our, entry room with our bookshelf and stuff like that, boom. Instant studio, anywhere you go. And that's kind of the idea behind it, is like, are you a panelist? Great. Come on, talk, get the engagement. And then, like you said, people can go review it. Because like you doing cons, most panels are not recorded for posterity. Like whatever it may be, unless it's like one of the major celebrities, they're not being recorded. So that person who, got a badge to the con to be a panelist to talk about, who's better, Batman versus Superman, you know, in the 60s, you know, that like maybe 3 or 4 people came and watched that, you know. But like you said, if it's between that and going and watching, you know, Brian Polito live draw something in a panel room, you know where you're going. But you really did want to see that other thing. And that's kind of the idea behind it is you can watch both things. You can check on everything. You can connect with everything, you know. They can tune into us streaming for a minute and then hop over to that live art stream. They can hop between the two. They can have both windows open. I mean, you obviously got to mute one or the other sort of thing. The idea is I could have all 5 windows up streaming simultaneously. And when I see something that catches my eye in the moment, type in my question and you're good to go. And that was kind of the idea behind that was nobody else is doing simultaneous live streams right now, from what I know. I won't swear by it, but I haven't found one yet. In the form and way we're doing, you know, and then that's kind of the idea behind it is getting that feel. Like you said, this panel got boring. I'm going to the next one. You know, I'm walking over to that one, and that's the idea behind it. And then again, you know, just making sure prices are reasonable for everyone, that vendors can make sales. Because that was, I mean, talking about the business side of this, monetarily wise, that was one of our goals with this, was factoring that in. Because here's some numbers that a lot of people don't know about conventions. Your average attendee spends about $100 on a showroom floor, statistically. Depends on the area, and there's obviously variables. But your average attendee spends about $100 on the show floor. Pre-con, depending on the size of the con and stuff, most attendees will end up spending almost $200 to $250 before the convention for hotel room, food for the weekend, travel. So that's $250 con tickets, anywhere between $30 to $70. So that's $250 that never makes it into the vendor room because it's eaten up by outside sources. We don't have that problem. You're watching us from your couch. So roughly, that's $350 that can now go into vendors' pockets, you know, to help them, you know, more comic book buys, more swag, more everything. It's not, you know, hey, I spent $15 on that food court pizza. You just went to your fridge and grabbed Hot Pocket. You know, exactly. You know, you could eat your snacks while, you know, watching Brian do live drawing or you know, pick up these exclusives and things like that. You know, and then that's kind of the focus of it, was to really help vendors out right now, because vendors it's rough everywhere, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it.
So I've got a few people that I know are in the audience right now that either have ongoing or upcoming projects, crowdfunding or not, that actually would be really cool to jump on this to get extra exposure and have a few more eyes on, because I'm sure you have a lot more exposure on your side to go ahead and help push that as well.
Oh, totally. And I'd love to have them on there. Yes, come join us. I mean, our first, at least the June 6th and the June 20th one, and at this time, July 11th, are all free events for vendors or attendees. We're always going to keep it free for attendees, but these first several ones, as proof of concepts, essentially, we're keeping it open to all vendors. So if you vend product, if you vend comic books, if you have a booth at a con, come sign up for us, because it translates.
If you vend yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's free. PantselsCon 2020 is the best.
So Jason Doobie is on here right now saying, yes, please. You're luring me in. So y'all definitely need to get together on that one. Jason, this link that's up here right now, all the links are actually tied into both on YouTube and Facebook. They're in the comments up top. If you click on see more, everything is on there. I think they gave me, I think I counted 8 links on there. There is one that says superheroesunlimited.com/couchcon. Go there, and that's where you'll sign up, Jason. So definitely do that. And also, anybody that's out here, if you want to see the demon come on here and do a panel or something, let me know, and I'll try to put something together, and maybe we can work that out as well.
Oh, totally. For sure. Totally. I mean, that's the idea with this. And And taking it a step further, you know, once we get the base streaming concept solidified, back end and front end, eventually what we plan to do with this is more direct connection. So, like, for example, using Lewis here, you know, he's in another state. We're here in Arizona, and you know, obviously, doing meetups is a difficult thing across states. And so the idea is like maybe Saf comes on as, you know, which one you were Ace, right? I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
No,
you know, maybe
Ace, I was starting with
right. So
you
know, our eventual idea with this is we can have cosplayers from across the country do just like what we're doing, the dual tandem stream. So like Starlet can come on screen with Lewis and do interviews with him. Mm-hmm. You know, we can pair people up that normally never meet.
Can I give a little tease for what I'm doing with James Mulligan?
Oh yeah.
So for this it's this June 6th one, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna do a little stream first, so you guys will get to see me becoming Jessica Rabbit. Because I've actually done a version of James Mulligan's Jessica Rabbit that he did her in like Hollywood Tower Hotel style, so like the Tower of Terror in Disneyland, but if she was wearing, you know, their little costumes. So I actually created his drawing based on that. And so you'll get to see, you know, what it takes for me to become Jessica Rabbit. And then James and I are going to get together and he's going to do a little live drawing of me as his creation. So
very cool.
To get to bring together, just like you said, you know, we're cross state lines, but we're going to do it together for June 6th.
Yeah, you're getting some attention out here. Jason Doobie, yeah, Jessica Rabbit. That's what she said. Yes, I heard it too.
So it's a really cool, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I did a little, actually the last, our beta test, I did some wig styling for her wig. So I did, like we said, we talked about like a little panel. I kind of showed like how you tease a wig, how you know, get some volume out of it. So I was, you know, doing like a little class on wig styling, but also prepping that wig. But you guys will get to see the full version. So like I said, it's not the classic Jessica, but it's this really cute little Hollywood Tower Hotel look.
Nice.
Yeah. It's super awesome. We've been wanting to do it, and it's just been getting around to it. And I mean, that's the perks of being a virtual event. Of, you know, we've got celebrities. I mean, we don't have exact dates for these guys yet, but we're currently they're on board. We're going to have like Lauren Landa, who's Annie from Attack on Titan. Josh Martin, who is Majin Buu from DBZ. Chris Rager is interested and he's Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball Z. Like, Jason Charles Miller is interested, and he's done a host of things. And the idea behind this is just, you know, bringing the con feel back, where it's not just like just this. You know, it's more connected. You know, keeping safety in mind and everything too, and then just more unique things. Like, you know, one of the things we're going to help with like the celebrities that have a ton of voiceovers is, you know, on the bottom of the screen have rolling banners of this is the characters they've been. Because I can't tell you, I mean, how many times do we go to a show and we're like, that person voiced that? And we're like, oh my god, I love that character. I had no idea. Well, now you have a rolling IMDb link. Like,
now, are you going to be having where artists can be on there and doing like an artist draw segment?
Yeah, I mean, we're really open to anything at this point. I mean, right now we're just focusing on getting the streams going. Eventually we're going to have like optional suggestions of, hey, you're a comic artist, here's what you could do on this show. I mean, really, it's whatever they want to stream for 45 minutes.
If you can do it in front of a camera, it works.
As long as it's not illegal. But yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the idea is like, I mean, we've had several artists already reach out to us saying, hey, we're interested. Maybe I do a live drawing print exclusive right here. I will draw it. We will make prints out of it. Whatever sells during the show is what sells, and that's it forever. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, you know, it's significant because, I mean, you know, like, imagine doing that at a show. How many people could you get to engage with your booth at a show to make something like that business viable for an artist? It'd be insanely difficult. Here, you know, we run that video for the 2 days the show's up. You know, we close it at the end of Sunday, and we say, okay, well, it's locked off now. Shop's closed. And that's kind of the idea behind it. Is it's kind of the, you know, being in Jersey, I know you know all about like the New York pop-up stores that pop up all the time, where it's like we're up for 48 hours and then we're gone. I mean, that's kind of the idea behind CouchCon, is we can do that where we have a shopping cart for the artist, you know, comic book, whatever, vendor, and it goes up for, you know, 4 or 5 days, because we're opening up. We don't have exact dates on these, but we open up the stores a few days before the show starts so people can start perusing it. And then they have their 1 hour live stream or more. Like if someone wants to do a 2 hour draw session, I don't care. If we got the space open, go for it. So they go through that. And then once the live stream's done, we put it onto like a repeat session essentially. But the shopping stays open until the end of the weekend. At the end of the weekend, we close it all down and send off all the orders to the artists and vendors, and then we do it again in 2 weeks.
And it sounds very cool, because the one thing that's been missing from the online cons is, I'm not going to say completely and totally the energy, but there has to be a hype person. There has to be someone over there going Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. You know, there has to be somebody getting excited about it.
Monday Madness.
Yeah, exactly. And you have people like, you know, with my shows, I get excited. I get people out here. We have some fun and we get a lot of information and we have a blast and all. This is a one-off and it's done. But you put this into, you know, the cons scenario, and it gets people excited. It gets them interested. And you're doing 5 per hour. They can kind of change channels, go to the ones they want to go ahead and go to, and then earmark the ones that are like, I really want to go to this one, but I really want to watch this one live so I can interact. Then I can go back to this one possibly. There's a little bit of involvement that can be added into that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that was kind of the focus with it, was that continuous involvement. And then going forward in those intervening 2 weeks when we don't have the show, people who couldn't even attend it at all because of work or whatever can just rewatch it all. And then they can still follow through on the vendor links, or even just, you know, like you said, panelists. You know, panelists can still link their social medias. They can gain new followers. There's that you know, all of that stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to ever see at a convention because people get lost in the noise. You know, you go to a show and you've got 160 booths across 3 floors and you've got 200 hours of panel time. You know, if you're not a big name, nobody hears you, you know, and I mean, same with artists, you know, if you're not on a corner booth in an artist alley, people don't go down there, you know. And I wanted to get away, like, you know, one of the things, you know, I comment on occasionally is you see some artist alleys and it's like a, you know, Sarah McLachlan ASAP commercial of like, you know, in the arms of, and you see all these that artists being like, please look at my face. I'm better. Like you're laughing because you know it. You see it.
Alleys that way too.
You know the thing, and it's like there's
please.
stuff. I worked really hard on it, and like you just don't see it. You have, you know, here's 32 giant celebrities. Here's, you know, 28, you know, the titans of the comic industry, you know, that you don't get seen because of that. And I wanted to help with that too, was how do you get seen more without spending a ton of money on everything? And I was like, okay, well, we've got 5 streams an hour. We might eventually bump that to a few more, but I'm probably going to keep it right around there because that's 5 active people right now. Okay. That's what people are going to be focusing on, is those 5 active people. And then over the course of the next weeks, they will go check out those other ones of being like, okay, I watched these. I missed some of this. Let me go back and check it out. And there's no reason not to look at everything. You know, you've got the time, you know, and that was the big focus I wanted to bring to this, was here's everybody, whether it's a cosplayer, an artist, or even celebrities. You know, we've had some celebrities that, you know, aren't those big names that don't get seen as much at shows, you know, that we wanted to bring in too. So like there's a lot of talks going on with it, and I've had great responses from everybody so far about it. You know, same with, you know, comic book stores are down. Like we've got off the top of my head, like Eastside Mags from Montclair, New Jersey. Eastside Mags. Jeff Beck just signed up for this weekend. You know, Fat Moose from not Morristown, but Parsippany, New Jersey is probably going to sign up for June 20th. You know, he's interested in it. Like the goal is, and I think the key thing here that I really love about this is shows that would never be connected can now be connected. You know, you would never get at a show in Cali a tiny comic book store from New Jersey, you know, showing up because it's not economically feasible. But now I can have vendors from the entirety of the United States, the world even, at our show because it's there. It's all online. It's all digital, you know. I can have, you know, all these various cast members come on. I can have all these different artists that, you know, they're not going to do a show like that small show in a local town and things along those lines. They can do it now because it's an hour of their time. You know, we've had, I mean, I'm in talks with several big name artists to do this who don't normally do shows because it's just like, it's not worth it to do, you know? And that's kind of the idea behind that is just building that connection across the country, you know?
Now, Jason asked, how often are these cons going to happen? Is it just the one time coming up? Now, we mentioned this before, and I know Jason came in a little bit later. So there are 3 times that are planned right now. It's every 2 weeks is what we're looking at. This is going to be the inaugural is coming up this Saturday. Now, Jason, I want to go ahead and kind of I'm gonna spotlight you for just a moment because Jason has a book called Lilith and Mara, Sisters of the Dark. See, there's something wrong with the microphone. Every time I do that, it has to go into that mode. But he has this amazing book that's on Indiegogo. He's within hours of it completing, and he wanted to go to In Demand. So I just want to go ahead and spotlight if Jason were to jump on here and get onto your CouchCon and take a spot on there and talk about Lilith and Mara, Sisters of the Dark, and actually try to sell that on In Demand and everything, that would actually work out really well because he could showcase what he's doing there, what he's done in the past, just like if he were at a con and be able to reach out to many more people than normal.
Yep. Well, and one of the big features we're looking to do is kind of keep it news station style. So like we're from the back end side, and then this is behind the scenes, is essentially the way this is working is the vendors, whoever, any of our streamers are going to be, we set them up for the hour, we pre-plan everything, and then we let it run. But we've also got it set up that we're monitoring all those streams. So if like, you know, for example, Jason hops on and he's like, hey, can you guys stream across the bottom my Indiegogo link? Can you stream across the bottom this link? Hey, I forgot to send this to you guys, but I had a bunch of people ask me about this. Where can I send? Can you stream this? We totally can. And that's the idea behind it is just like you see on like news stations, consistently updated data, changing data, things happening. And we just wanted to, you know, again, you're a great example of, you know, not every artist has everything, you know, available to them, and they don't know how to do these things. Maybe, you know, they just don't have access. They don't know. We do. So, you know, when an artist comes to us, now they get a clean, professional stream with all the overlays, all their data scrolling around the bottom, and then they can share that out. You know, hey, check out this 1 hour, you know, talk I did about my Indiegogo. Share that out to your Indiegogo. It's nice, it's clean, it's professional. You didn't have to do any work to make it. You know, like how can you tie that all in? And that's kind of the goal with this is helping people be better. You know, growing them. You know, connecting them. You know, when an artist, you know, hops on. I mean, the cool thing about it too is like our streamers can watch other streamers. You know, they can go back and check it out. I mean, we see it happen all the time at cons. It brings back that networking aspect of shows that you don't see. You know, you won't see. No bark. Spray bottle.
He's armed.
Part.
And that's kind of the idea behind that is just helping everybody do better and be better and you know, aside from, you know, obviously I've talked extensively about the streamer side of things, but also for the attendee of bringing the feel of the community, the connections, the gathering, you know, this, you can all chat with this. Did my feed just drop out?
You just went black screen for some reason.
Oh, hold on. We lost audio.
Oh no.
No.
Just a moment there, having some technical difficulties over there. But I hope everyone's having a great time and enjoying this and learning a lot more about this, because this is a great con that's going to be happening, and it's going to have great possibilities, because whenever you start thinking about it, coming on my show, for one thing, you can come on here and I can help you get exposure to the few people that I have and the growing, audience that I'm getting and everything, which is good and great and all. They have a lot more feelers on their side who have more feelers, and so on and so forth. It's just a lot more that it can branch out to. So that is definitely something you want to look into to go ahead and jump on with that. So they are having some technical issues, so I'm waiting for them to jump back in. But before they get back in, so we're just going to go ahead and kind of discuss, because I brought up about Jason going ahead and jumping in on this. David, you're here. We were talking about artists getting involved. They can actually jump on here and they can get involved in this con and actually have a draw session or whatever you feel like you want to do on there. If you wanted to sell some of your prints or do anything else, you can definitely do that. Let's see. It sounds awesome. Do they do more than comics? I came in late, got busy writing, and missed the notification. Russell, yes, they actually do more than comics. They're doing a lot more. They're doing pretty much all the pop culture things. If you're interested in doing something, they're leaving it wide open to vendors right now. As long as it is legal and you can do it on camera, then they are allowing it. So you definitely need to get with them, because with your book and things of that nature, I think that would be really good to do. Or if you have something else, maybe. But definitely reach out to them and find out. But they have something this Saturday, and then they also have every 2 weeks they're looking at trying to do that. So see, they're still trying to work on getting back in here, and I think I have got them back. Let me bring them in here real quick. There we go. We got them back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It like timed out or something and booted us to like log in and re-register or something.
Yeah, I'm noticing it's doing more and more of the lagging material in there, so it looks like it's trying to get like a bad signal going through or something.
You know, those internet gods.
Yeah, we talked about them coming out with those sticks, and they just smacked
us. We were talking while you were out about Russell was asking if it was just comics that you were doing or if you were doing something else, and I explained to him that, as long as it's legal and it can be done on camera, that you're open to talking about it. And he went ahead and put this on there. Man, I'm out. It's illegal for me to be on camera. Yeah, that's very true.
Well, and that's kind of the idea behind it, is like, obviously we will eventually reach a curation stage with the event to a degree. But it allows us to be much more open than a show is, as far as like panelist submissions and things like that. Like for me, it's just, we add another web page for you to stream through. It's not a huge deal. Right now we're running for 6 hours on the day of the show, per show. 5 streams an hour is the goal, and we fill up what we fill up. If we eventually hit our 45 goal, we bump it up to 50. We do an 8-hour show, or we can, run 7 streams an hour, and whatever that math number comes out to, because we know I suck at math. So, that's kind of the idea behind it. And I mean, if it gets really big and we have a huge amount of interest, great. We run it across 2 days, and that's kind of the thing with it is we can do that, where like people who, again, don't normally do shows, or like you get, again, our booth costs when we charge for them eventually will be somewhere between $10 and $40 max. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can make that back, or you just look at it as an advertising cost, and that's really like, again, coming back to the business side. I try to be very open, like that's.
And see, you bring up about the advertising costs. I just want to go ahead and bring up, because usually you hear that and automatically you think, well, I can do this myself and save the advertising cost. But what you're offering is you're moderating the site, you're moderating the marketing, you're moderating the actual stream. Therefore, all of that is going through. And I'm not going to tease the internet gods on this one, but you're actually in control of that at that point. So it makes it a little bit easier, especially on people who usually just go and do the cons physically. Now that they're not able to and they don't understand all of this kind of thing, you're
Yep.
taking control of that for them.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you have to think, most people, naturally think, okay, well, I could do it myself. Well, why do you go to the cons in the first place? To advertise and to get to new people. You
Yes.
know, if you're only ever doing it yourself, well, then you're only ever preaching to the same people that already know about you.
And have probably already bought your stuff or will not buy your stuff, but just still watch you. And that's the idea behind it is bringing back that live engagement, which is critical. And then in addition, all of our vendors will share out their live links, just like we did with this. What's the first thing you do when you go live? You share out the link. What happens to a convention? Most vendors don't advertise the convention. It makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
But a lot of vendors don't even advertise they'll be at X convention. But they will with us because that's the first you were trained. Do a live stream, share a link. That's what everyone's trained from the beginning. So I don't even need to retrain vendors for that. It's the first thing they do. And what happens when, you're a vendor that's got, 1,000 followers versus that vendor who's got 50,000? Everybody just got access to everybody new.
Yes.
You're people, and it's going to grow because just like a television channel, what do? Same time next week, 5 p.m. Tune in. And that's the idea behind this is like, again, coming back to physical cons, that one con only runs once a year, generally speaking. I'm running every 2 weeks. I don't have that 9 months of advertising buildup and marketing and trying to force attendees in the door. And, again, coming back to overhead costs for our attendees, I don't have to try to talk them out of $200 before they even walk in my door. They're walking in for free. And all that money, again, I can't swear by anything because we don't have a ton of data yet, but I don't see any reason why it doesn't make sense. That money should flow over to our vendors, flow over to the streamers, because it doesn't need to go somewhere else, and that's the idea behind that is pushing that forward of, okay, this week we had 400 people. Next week we have 1,000 people. The week after that we have 2,000 people. Friend tells a friend. And then we're happening consistently enough that we can keep that momentum. Cons spend 9 months to build up for 2 days. I'm spending a week every week to build up for next week. We can keep riding that. And that's the idea behind it. Because obviously you'll hit a saturation point, things along those lines. And there'll be some weeks that are down because of, national events, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
The reality is just like a stream. What's the first thing they tell you when you're streaming? Do it consistently. Bring back the user base, and that's what our goal with it is constant new content, because every one we do is different. We'll have the same vendors, at times, but we'll constantly be having new people. And when we hit a number, we just roll over to another day, so maybe we do run it every day of the week, maybe this is my new full-time job, we'll see.
You start having a haircut like I do if you run it every day of the week, trust me.
Exactly, Russell. Your no banner costs. Totally true. Lower overhead for everybody involved. And that's the idea. Lower for vendors, lower for the con runner, lower for the, attendees. Most people don't realize your average, like your smaller conventions, let's say you're talking like 1,000-person convention. Most of those shows cost anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 to put on for a small show. That's not talking like your 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 people shows. 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all costs that go into things, and virtual gets rid of all of them.
So I need to ask this because it's on my mind, and I would think that it's on the audience mind as well, is with this, and it's a great idea doing this and everything, with the new, I hate calling it new normal, the new standard that we're getting out of and getting into eventually somehow, some way. Is that going to change things for this, or are you going to keep going with the same tempo on this?
We're going to keep doing it. Because I mean, because this question was one of the first ones we brought up. Is this a long-term thing or is it 6 months? And we talked about it, and we were like, this can keep going. Because I mean, we're looking at it like this, because we're only taking up like 45 minutes of someone's time. So theoretically, even if you were a vendor that normally does shows, you could still go to a show and then still do a 1-hour live stream while you're at a show. You know, you could essentially be at 2 shows for 1 weekend, you know. There's no downside for this. And again, since we're not pulling from one market is the big thing here. We're hitting the whole world essentially, you know.
Right.
Obviously initially the US and because of shipping issues and things like that. But conceptually wise, you know, it doesn't matter that, you know, this area had an economic downturn or this one's having problems or 3 shows happened in the last 2 months in you know, Texas is a great example. There's a show every weekend within 100 miles in Texas, damn near. You know, I don't care about that because those Texas vendors can come on my show and sell to New York. They can sell to Ohio. They can sell to Washington State, states they'd never travel to because it's not cost effective as a vendor. You can now hit that, you know. And the cool thing too is when you have a vendor hop on from, again, Iowa, you know, Iowa vendor hops on, he brings his Iowa followers that would never see your stuff in the Texas show. Vice versa. Iowa guy gets the Texas guy gets the Iowa fans, and everybody sees it. And then going forward, we're marketing, we're advertising, you know, people that have never even attended a con will see this, you know. So cons are, and this is for any cons, barring like the major like New York Comic Con and stuff like that. Most cons' goal is that people within 25 miles of the show hear about it and attend. That is the like the number point. So any con you normally go to only brings 25 miles of people in. I'm looking to bring 3,500 miles of people in. You know, like which is probably going to get you better sales. You know, like. That's kind of the idea behind it. And again, we come back to super cheap cost. You know, you sell 1 item as a vendor, you made your week. You made your hour. You know,
I mean, out of every 100 people that you pitch to, 1 person will buy. So you're increasing that to no longer being 100. You're increasing that to a few thousand. So we're talking about several buyers that are involved in that. We're actually going to pay for more than just the space that you're going to get, because the space is incredibly inexpensive, but it also give you some revenue to go ahead and move toward other things as well.
Well, because I mean, your average vendor for most shows is spending anywhere between $750 to $1,500 to vend at a show. And that's not talking like their stock or anything. That's just like raw. This is my hotel, my booth, my food, my drive time, and paying my staff. You know, I just took all of that off of the vendor. I made it like $40, you know, top end, you know, right now. And why would you say no to that? Like, I cut you from $1,500 to $40. I just saved you $1,400. You just made that, you know, like, and that's the goal is doing it right for vendors. Cause like I said at the beginning of this is I've already seen some virtual cons pop up and they're wanting, you know, $150 for a hyperlink to your website so you can have a virtual booth with them. And I'm like, you're not going to see a return on that. Like, don't do your own advertising. Like, that's when it makes sense to just do it yourself, you know? So
I completely agree. And the ends of this actually justify the means. So I can definitely see where doing something like this would actually be cost productive. It may cost you $40 on the top end to go ahead and be a part of this, but are you really losing money on this, or are you gaining? Because if you go to everybody's waiting to go to these cons that are opening back up. For one thing, that's the worst gamble that I can think of right now, because whatever you spend to get into there right now, we don't know what's going to happen. That's the whole thing, is the unknown is what nobody knows right now, and everybody's scared to death of, but everybody's so chomping at the bit to get back out there. This gives you an option to go ahead and jump on this with no recourse on anything happening, because you don't have to worry about the con crud or worse.
Like,
and they can go ahead and jump on this. And I'm not going to say it guarantees them money, but it definitely doesn't hit them for anything either. Which, I mean, the only thing you're going to have out of pocket is what you've already paid, and you're done.
Yeah, well, and that was one of our big focuses when we designed this. Was I was like, okay, how do I do this so that if anything goes belly up on anybody on any side, nobody goes screw that guy. And I was like, okay, 20 to 40 bucks as a business isn't even a drop in the bucket. Nobody's batting an eye at that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you come on the event, you pay, and 40 is like our very top end number. Like realistically, I think most people are going to do like our base shopping cart package of like 20 bucks. You get 12 items, that you get everything everybody else does. You just don't get some fancy border work. We just wanted to add in like the VIP diamond Rolex sort of style thing because somebody wants to spin that, and who am I to begrudge them giving me more money? You know, it's not necessary, but you know, maybe it might increase your sales. It could. I don't know. I don't have anything to swear by. But you come on, and even if you don't make a single sale that day, there's still, we leave your page up. It's got your bio. It's got your social media. It's got your sales sites. You know, it redirects to your website. Your video is still up there. That's forever advertising because we're just not going to ever take that down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the idea behind it is nothing will bring that down. So even if you just look at it as a strict $40 advertising cost, that's still a win, you know? In 3 months from now, when we're still running CouchCon, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, you know, and someone perusing the page runs across you and buys something from you, it's still a win, you know. If nothing else, it's great SEOing for your website. You know, you get hyperlinks everywhere. Like, there's no,
absolutely.
and that's really the model I built my entire company on from the get-go. Is kind of like the Oberos. Everything feeds into everything else, eating its own tail, and grows it. You know, because we have some really big plans once CouchCon gets going, as far as what it can transform into. Which those are kind of secret, but
right.
It could
And
be,
a lot of people don't understand that whenever you're doing things like this, the algorithms are what plays a huge role in this, because you doing this is increasing that algorithm rhythm on there so much on their stuff. It's like having, like on my show, let's take this for example. If someone were to go ahead and hit the like button on here or the heart on here or whatever, 10, 20, 30 times is good, great, wonderful. I go ahead and slap this over onto yours. All that transfers over and
yep.
gains more, and then keeps increasing every time somebody even goes and looks at it from then on.
Yep, exactly. And that's the goal with it is the constant feedback, the constant coming in, the constant traffic. Because coming back to physical conventions, once you leave a show, you don't get any more sales from that. Not really. Like there's some translation, people take your card, but it's not like this where, hyperlinks are the thing, following through. I can go watch your 1 hour video 6 months from now, be like, that was really cool. I want to check out comics and more. Let me follow your link. Boom, we're here. Oh, you don't have that item for sale anymore? Whatever. I see all your other deals, your specials, your blah, 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 blah. That was someone that, 6 months, and most importantly with this, people that didn't even go to the show can come. If I didn't go to the, Phoenix Comic-Con, I never got your card, so I never heard about you. But months from now, someone can check out CouchCon, never having even gone to the original show, and still buy something from you, still check you out, still become a follower, and that's kind of the idea behind it. And the more it grows, the more it grows.
Right.
Right now, I expect our June 6th show, conservatively, I'm hoping for around 1,000 unique views, 1,000 unique attendees, which, comparable to an actual Comic-Con is a huge number. Actual Comic-Con pulls in, 3,000 people for a decent sized show. I'm pulling in a third of that, and, I expect every show after that to grow from there, and that's kind of the idea behind it. Is it's a pop-up event, runs every 2 weeks, and, people will schedule, honestly, their lives around stuff like that, Every 2 weeks, you're going to come see amazing artists, cosplayers, vendors, you can, cosplayers that could never be seen before because shows won't book them as a guest or give them a booth, so on and so forth. And that's kind of the idea behind it, is that constant connections. And then I'll be using our years of connections in the industry to bring amazing people onto the show consistently. But I'm also going to do that in a balanced manner, because I don't want to be that show that brings on 32 celebrity guests. You know,
Right.
I want it nicely balanced, you know, 1 or 2 major guests, and that's it, you know, because I'm weeks. What do I care? You know, so.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't want them overshadowing the other guests either, because that's what happens in physical cons as well. So you really don't want to have 32 celebrities and one artist, because they're going to feel just like they do in other cons.
That's the first question I've had artists and celebrities ask me. How many guest artists are you bringing out? How many celebrity guests do you bring out? I'm like, I'm not looking to do more than, at most, probably like 3 a show, maybe 1 an hour sort of thing. Nothing more than that. And I'm not going to like pack it to the gills with this guest and this guest and that guest and this thing. It's going to be like, yo, come check them out, and in 2 weeks come see them again. You know, you can get that regularity. You know, I mean, several of our celebrity guests are like, hell yeah, I'll do this every other weekend. I don't care. This is awesome. You know, if you don't see them week 1, you get to see them the next week. You know, like, and that's the idea behind it, is like, there's no pressure anymore for anybody. You know, there's no pressure for the artists. There's no pressure for the celebrities. There's no pressure on the show. It's nice. It's laid back. It's CouchCon. And that's literally how we came up with the name. I was like, what sounds easy in your house? CouchCon. So.
I like alliteration.
Well, it definitely worked, because I believe Pantsless Con is already taken. So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Well, I mean, I could keep y'all up here all night talking about this. This is an amazing thing that you've got going, and I think it's going to do very well. And I know I've got several people that are over here that are very interested, and I'm sure are chomping at the bit to get with you on that. I'm actually one of those as well. We'll be talking in the green room afterwards. I can tell you that right now.
Definitely.
If you'll go ahead and give us last audible on where we can find you and everything, and then I'll have those links up here as well, so we can get back to you, and we're good.
Yeah, I mean, you go first.
So you can find me pretty much everywhere as Sapphire Nova Cosplay. So, you know, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you know, all of the usual contenders. Those are the main ones that I'm on regularly. But yeah, Sapphire Nova Cosplay.
And then for us, it's Superheroes Unlimited on everything, basically. Primarily, we're on Facebook and Instagram. We just started a TikTok. Amanda's running it. I don't know anything about TikTok. And then for CouchCon, you just go to superheroesunlimited.com/CouchCon. And we have all the walkthrough tutorials for both attendees and vendors. We were very detailed in explaining everything. The sign-up process, super simple. You literally just go to the bottom of CouchCon and you hit, I want to be a streamer. Pick your dates. Go. And that's all there is to it. If anybody's got any questions, they can always message me. I always answer my phone all the time. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Superheroes Limited everywhere.
And Russell went ahead and put up here, thanks guys for taking the time to get on and explain everything. I'll definitely hit you guys up. Like I said, you've got people that are interested already.
Yes, thanks guys. I more the merrier. Like, that's the goal here. More the merrier. The more we have, the better it is.
Yep. So
I completely agree on that. Thank you both very much for being on here. And if you will hold off in the green room, I'll be in there momentarily. I'm going to do my closing statement and I'll be right over there.
Got it.
All right. Hey, that was a great interview. I definitely enjoyed that. We got a lot of information on there. CouchCon. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? So everyone needs to definitely get on board with this, look into it, go ahead and sign up. I'm definitely about to talk to them about some things with that as well. So I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different. I never script anything. I never write any notes down. So my closing statement for tonight is based on one word, which is community. So they brought up several times about the networking and building of community and all. Now, everybody knows no politics, no religion, no drama, no negativity. There is so much negativity in the world right now that community needs to be built up. So as far as I'm concerned, if you have a chance to reach out to somebody to help them out, to give them a helping hand, do so. If you have a chance to go ahead and help anybody with anything, do so. If you can help just by contacting somebody, do so. There needs to be more positivity right now, and it not just in the independent comics industry, which is normally where I focus. I'm going to go ahead and broadcast this everywhere. Help everybody. Help everybody you can. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't do anything wrong on that. We need more humanity in this world. They're showing what they can do on their end. Hopefully, I'm showing what I can do on my end because everybody keeps watching. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Please, everybody, keep doing what you're doing. Let's show some community out there. Keep it indie, y'all.